What I'm going to be tackling this week is just doing some exploring with AntiSamy and Maven. There have been some new releases of AntiSamy, and I'm primarily coding with Cold Fusion CFML. So these are newer releases, I believe, than what's bundled with either Lucy or Adobe Cold Fusion. So I want to look at using Maven to put together the jars that I need in order to use AntiSamy in my projects. An area that I'm not terribly well versed in, so it'll be interesting. So feel free to tag along. What I think I should probably do first is actually spin up Lucy and Adobe Cold Fusion and see if I can what versions are bundled with them. So I'm just gonna make some testing surveys here. Lucy server. We'll spin up command box there, and we'll do this again. Should I do this so that it's a little bit bigger? And we'll do Adobe server. And in here, we'll do server start, CF engine equals Lucy at 5.3.4, right? This is the latest, I believe. I think it's plus. What's the latest? Sure, I'll see all 81. 5.3.4, 477. Are we at 5? Can't see here. So plus. Oh, there it is, plus 80. All right, so that server starting there. And then over here, we'll do server start. And I actually don't know what the latest release of Adobe is. So that equals Adobe at, we'll come back to that. Adobe at 2018. And I guess the latest is over here. So back over here. It's gonna have to download in here. We'll open up this with code. Oops. I suppose I could go somewhere and look for this, but whatever. All right, so we got VS Code here. Nice. I'll have to zoom in. All right. So this is up and running, so we should be able to, I might need to set the password now. I forgot about this. /Lucy/admin/server. And okay, annoying. Everything is more complicated than it needs to be. I don't think I have cfconfig installed here. What's going on? Command box -cf. Okay, so Adobe's up 2. cfconfig. All right. I also have, cheers, a glass of wine. So once cfconfig is installed, I will set the password and restart those servers, and then should be able to log in and see what version of those libraries is installed. cfconfig set, I believe it's admin password equal to, we'll just do command box, and then server restart. I believe this is how this works. And then I might need to reload the shell here. So this one's restarting. I believe it's here. Nice. Okay, I think I'm back here. Like clockwork, when one password got called, it killed OBS. So we're back. I thought I had done that and I didn't. So AntiSamy. Oh, I thought that came bundled. Interesting. Just Lucy eSappy? I thought I could see which version came bundled with Lucy in here, but I'm not seeing it, which is strange. Let's see if I can see it with Adobe Cold Fusion. Save config, set admin password equal to command box, server restart. Okay, so I can't see the jar listed here. Let me see if we can use it. Let's just see if we can create AntiSamy within that server and what happens when we try to. Start index.cfm. This is really not what I said I was going to be doing, but now I'm just curious what's bundled here, and it'll all come together. Application.csc. Okay. So is there? We started here yet? Slash administrator. All right. Document section. Blah 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 blah. Where's the Java info? I don't remember. I certainly don't know where they put it in the this updated. Oh, it's not there. Settings. Request tuning. I thought settings summary might have it. Settings summary. Okay. Does this show? All right. Does this show AntiSamy in here? It does. Okay. Here we go. Well, at least for Adobe, AntiSamy is 1.5.7. I'm not sure what's bundled with. I'll have to figure out what's bundled with Lucy, but I know for Adobe it's 1.5.7. Brings me back to GitHub. If we go to AntiSamy, you'll see that the latest release is 1.5.9. That's from this year. 1.5.8 is from last year. And the first one that they have here is 1.5.7, but I think that's from 2017. So the version that's bundled with Adobe Cold Fusion 2018 is outdated at this point. I don't know if that's updated for 2020. And with Lucy, I'll have to figure out what's bundled there. And you know what? Let me plug my own blog. That's really where this started, though. I had a post about AntiSamy when I was trying to explore how to use it. So that was with Cold Fusion 11, those functions. Oh wow, it was even it was even further behind at that point. I wonder, did I make a repo for this? project is no longer inactive. All right. Oh, I did. Nice. Okay, so when I was trying to use this before, I set up a project um, on GitHub with some of the resources that I needed, and at that point, I was using the Java loader to pull it in. All right, that's from 4 years ago. Oof. Whoa. Um, all right, we're here. So let's start working. I want to work with this one. So we're going to AntiSamy and copy this. Hop over to iTerm. All right, we shouldn't have any further OBS crashes, I hope. Profiles. All right. So we will clone this repo. And hop into it. All right, and we'll open it up in code just to see what it has. Now, I think the issue here was, yeah, it's not built. And I don't think there is a built version of it on the AntiSamy site. So I think one of the first issues when I had previously worked with this was that I went to Maven, and I don't even remember Maven's. This is the project, but it's not Maven. Is it Maven Central? Maven repository. And I searched for AntiSamy, and it gave me I was probably, last time I was doing it was probably back here. Let's see. It gave me the 1.5.9 jar. But if I remember correctly, this does not include the dependencies. So that's getting downloaded. All right, I need to set up an app.cfc now to try to use that jar. And I'm assuming that that's not going to work, and then I'm going to need to use Maven to bundle, to build and bundle that latest version. So all right. Oh, that's over here. Sorry. Give me a second here. All right. We'll start with our Lucy server. We'll set up an app. And we're going to want to use, what is it, this.java settings. And I'm sorry, I'm going to have to pull up, like CF docs here because I never remember the syntax. Java, now what? Guides, Java integration guide. There we go. We'll add this to our app. And we'll stick them in a com directory. I might need to change this for Lucy. I probably do. All right. No, not com, lib. What am I talking about? Not that it matters, but I'm going to pull open This is really not worth the wait, but when you don't remember things, you have to copy and paste from when you've done them before. Okay, took me long enough. Sorry about that. Couldn't have the whole repo on the screen. Okay. Doing it as individual files this way, I've found works better. So I've got those listed. So I will drop that jar that we downloaded into the lib directory, and then we'll spin up that server and see if we are able to access it. So it's coming from here, getting moved to demos, AntiSamy, no, demos, Lucy server, lib, drop that in there. Okay, we got it. And then we have our index. Let's just make sure that this loads first. Right, output, hi. Make sure we didn't break anything. This is not helpful here. Okay. So hi. So that's loading. Now, what's the path for loading? I'm gonna go back to my blog post if I still have it here. I wonder if this has it. Nope. Go to the post. So if we're loading, this does that, this does that. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna make a little AntiSamy guy on our index, and we'll just see if this actually works. I believe that it does not, but it might. Okay, well, why does it say Java loader? Oh, no. AntiSamy is create object. Where did I grab that from? From that demo. Okay, create object. Type is Java. And that's the path. I think that should work. I mean, it'll still break, but it won't break it. Oh, okay, so we have one loaded here. I wonder, can I see org OWASP validator HTML AntiSamy? Okay. Org, no. Lucy server admin. Okay. So this is coming from, let's just look at these bundles again. Oh, wasp. Not found. Is this picking up the one that I dropped in? I can't believe that it is. Org OWASP validator HTML. Maybe it is. Maybe this is like way easier than I thought, and I won't even need to use Maven to load this. So there's no OWASP here. All right. Let me remove. Let me just make sure. I think what we're getting here is the. I'll change the app name. I know it's getting loaded fresh. I think what we're getting here is the Lucy version, not the jar that I dropped in. Oh, huh. Interesting. Okay. So it seems like that latest release is like a fat jar that has all the dependencies in it. Huh. All right. Cool. Okay. So in Lucy, I don't need to build from the Maven source. I can take that jar from Maven, from the Maven repository, um, and I guess it has all the dependencies built into it. Let me just go back and look at that other. I'm just trying to figure out why it was moved. Okay. Did I have anything here? Like what was on it? Oh, interesting. Wait. Oh, I guess, okay. It's just the project is back up and running, so it's more robust here. Um, so 159, that jar that I downloaded, all right, seems to be working with Lucy. Maybe, that's interesting. I'm gonna try it with Adobe Cold Fusion, and then, I mean, I still might mess around with Maven just because I wanted to learn a little more about it, but I guess I may not need it the way that I thought I did. All right, so we have our app in our Lucy server. We will move this over to the Adobe Cold Fusion server that we had running, which is over here. Code. If you're wondering why my file system is on this side, it's because I was messing around with this course online that provides emails. You can find the guy's name, but he's sending tips for using VS Code. And one of them is that having the file explorer on the left moves your code when you hide and show it. And hiding it is nice because you don't need it. You can use Command P in VS Code to navigate, Command P. So by putting it on the right, your code doesn't get jostled visually while you're working with it. So I'm giving it a spin and see how I like it. So we don't have a lib here. Just if you were wondering, I'm still not quite used to it there. I'm still not quite sold on it, but I'm giving it a try. Okay, so I'm going to drop in that 1.5.9 jar into strange. It's odd. Okay, take me to the commits. Fixed, tweaked. Added a line that was accidentally deleted. Merging stuff that was. Alright, so it was just internal stuff that was cleaned up. I'm not sure how I can tell if the right version of the jar is being loaded. Let's try commenting this out. All right. That's the. I guess I could see it's the same, whether that's, is it the same whether that's there or not? That looked a little different. You know what I'm gonna do? All right. This will be interesting. Okay, so this version is when it was not being loaded in the lib directory, and this is when it was. What's the difference? Yeah. Oh, it is different. Okay, so that's loading the right one as well. Because the new one, you're able to read you're able to read streams in scan and you weren't before. Interesting. Okay, so, well, the whole reason for me doing this is kind of moot at this point, because the 1.5.9 jar for AntiSamy um, appears to be a fat jar with all the necessary dependencies loaded into it. And for Lucy and Adobe Cold Fusion, uh, I am able to just drop it in my lib directory, load it with this.java settings, and then use it within my application. Um, and it's as simple as that. So, I mean, that's a win because it's working. Um, but that's not what I really wanted to mess around with. I'm glad I did this first because the rest of the thing would have felt like a waste if I didn't know this already. But since I said I was going to be looking at Maven and AntiSamy when I got this started, I think I should at least take those for a spin and kind of do the initial work that I said I was going to be doing in this live stream. But I won't need this to do it. So I'm going to minimize that. Don't need those. Going to hop down to the command line. Okay. So we've got AntiSamy down here. What we're going to do just for my own learning here. So I've got Maven installed. It's in my path, and I've got the latest version. Now I am not a Maven expert, but I believe that the way that I build backstory, and I wish I could show this. Previously on, let's hop over to, can I get back to Maven? Previously on the Maven repository, and I don't know, let me go back to that other one and try to show this. If I search for AntiSamy, try to explain this backstory that may be 4 years old now, I'm not sure. When I tried to use the latest version of AntiSamy, I was given this jar, which is 57 kilobytes. This is the 1.4 version, I guess. Are there... Part of this is, I don't know. That's 1.4. Okay, so moved here. Do they have... Let me just check. Okay, let's go up to the 2017, because I think I was trying to use... Slash, do I have the AntiSamy one? Okay. At that point in time, what was I trying to use? I was trying to use 1.5.3. So this is just backstory. I was trying to use 1.5.3. 1.5.3, yeah, gave me this 88 kilobyte jar. So it didn't, for reference, the jar that we're using now, see if I can see it here. Am I going to see the size? It's just going to say it. I wonder. All right, another diversion. Since I can already do the stuff that I want to do, I wonder if there's an extension for VS Code to see file size. File size. File watcher file size. Show the current file size in the status bar. Well, I killed the status bar, but that probably is the place where it should show. These are all in the status bar. 168K. That seems like the one to go with. Wow, 17K. All right, let's install that. Sure. So it's going to show it down there. Okay. Get rid of this again. Well, I need this open so I can see that. And then I need to, what's that called? The status bar. Toggle status bar visibility. Go to the jar. But it won't do it because it's of an unsupported text encoding. Well, all that diversion was useless. No, I don't want to open it anyway. I'll hop over to Finder. And in Finder, it tells me, oh, it's only 144 kilobytes. Just the dependencies were lightweight. When I downloaded this jar and tried to use it, the dependencies were not bundled with it. And then these dependencies had dependencies. So tracking down all of the jars that I needed to make AntiSamy work was a bit of a pain. But it seems like that's no longer a problem with the new one. Or maybe it's that some of the earlier dependencies weren't on Maven. Okay. I'm gonna hop back to the command line and just run through these commands that I believe will do what I need to get done. I'm in AntiSamy. It has the pom.xml, and I believe I can just run maven package. And I think that pulls in all of the dependencies, doing the work that I had to try to do before I knew how Maven worked, doing the work that I was doing manually by clicking around the Maven repository. So if this works right, I should end up with the jar of the latest build built. And actually, it'll be interesting to see. Okay, so now we have target. And we've got that 1.5.9 jar. You can tell I'm not a command line guru, but I'm interested now. Got too many things open here. I guess I could just do an ls command. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, so this jar is 141 kilobytes. That's the one that they built, that we built with Maven, 141 kilobytes. So let's go over to the Adobe server, lib, and we'll run that same command. And this, so it built, running that command, I suppose, unsurprisingly, built the same jar. It bundled all of that stuff in there. All right. Okay. So there's another thing. Let's go back over and hop into AntiSamy. And we're going to run so this was the command that I had seen and I was really hoping to try out. There we go, Maven copy dependencies. Because I believe what this does is it also I think it builds the dependencies that we need, or it gives you, yes. So that command which I've already lost because it's up here. Maven dependency, copy dependencies, builds out this directory in Target that includes all of the dependency jars that you need in order to run whatever project you're working on, in this case, AntiSamy. And I wonder if all of these were just already present in, like if we do, if we run this, how big are these? And some of these are larger. Huh. If I was trying to use, I mean, this is not, that's interesting. The jar that I'm getting from Maven is not a fat jar because it does not include all these dependencies. So I can load all these up separately here. I want to go back just for the fourth time, for the fifth time, to that blog post to see if I can refresh my memory on what the actual issue was here with needing to load in those dependencies. I think it's different. Blah, blah, blah. To use the Java loader, you do that. With the Java loader, you set up your arguments, the array of jars that you need. Yeah, so when I did this previously, and maybe it's just that Cold Fusion or Java under the hood has gotten smarter, or maybe these libs are already available, backtick and XML and stuff, but I needed to include all of these jars when I tried to create the AntiSamy object. And just going through here, it's interesting to me that I don't need to do that anymore, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure why. You know what, let me grab, this is kind of helpful. I think AntiSamy has a default policy file, so I can grab this code from the example. So I just want to run this in both of my in my Lucy index. So we've got AntiSamy, we've got untrusted input. We're not going to have a policy file because I think we don't need to. I think there's a default one. So we'll grab the error message. So on Lucy, just want to make, one of the reasons I'm doing this is because I just want to make sure that the jar that I'm loading, single line feed, init, that errors, scan, write down. Where am I? It's in the application? No. Index line 6. Huh. Almost feels like a Lucy parsing error here. Very strange. Yeah. Do double. Yeah, it's not going to work. Huh. I mean, this is highlighting correctly, but it doesn't like that. Fine. Since this isn't the point of what I'm trying to do, I'm just going to move this over to here. I'm going to do a CF save content. If I can remember how to do this, I'll go away. Variable is going to be called, what were we calling that? Untrusted input. We'll stick that in there. See if that works. Oh, so I do need to include a policy. All right. That's kind of annoying that they don't give you a. All right, let's hop over to GitHub here. Is there something I'm using their default policy? Blah, 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 blah. It's not helpful. I mean, does the source ship with any policies? Name, validator, resources, bunch of properties. That's a policy, right? Yeah. I guess I just need to drop those. Just check this out. AntiSamy default policy. All right. That's not what I was looking for. Well, again, let's not get sucked down. I've gotten sucked down about 4 rabbit holes so far. So let's not get sucked down another one. In our main here, I'll just do some Finder. I'm going to grab the policies from that main source. Their main resources, antisamy.xml. I'll move this over to we're in Lucy server. We'll just dump it in the root. So we have the antisamy.xml here. Scan untrusted input, and policy file is going to be /antisamy.xml. I think it's the second input. I'm not positive. Cross your fingers. Cross my fingers. All right. What's that second? That the expand path to make it absolute. Policy file. Yeah, I do. Okay. All right. All the way back forward, except we'll run expand path so that we get the full path to that policy file. I thought there was a default one that shipped with that. That's fine that there's not. Origin pack the XML serialized HTML serializer on line 11. This is what you get for not. I don't know what this is what you get. I don't know what I did to get this. All right, so if I'm going to scan, it's a string and then a policy file. Yeah. All right. Pull this out here. Policy file. Drop that in like that. It's not going to show if I'm still dumping. Interesting. Oh, okay. So, possibility here. I think this is what's happening. This possibly, hopefully, almost. Um, AntiSamy is loading as it should, but this error may be because I think this is because the dependencies aren't there. I need the dependencies in order to use it. It's not in order to load it, it's in order to use it. Wow, it took me an hour to figure out. So I ran that command, the Maven command, to build out those dependencies in the target folder. So I'm going to move that whole dependency directory over here to Lucy in the lib, and I'm going to drop it in there. So here, I'll show you what I just did. I added in dependency here. So these were all the dependencies that were compiled when I ran. Let's go back and look at the command that we ran when we ran Maven dependency copy dependencies. To use AntiSamy in Cold Fusion, I need all of these dependencies. Well, I might not need JUnit. I should probably see which dependencies are for testing. But these are the dependencies that are needed. Clicking through the Maven repository to find these would be an absolute nightmare. So let's just check our application.cfc directory list. Okay, so all of those should be getting loaded. We'll go back to index. And let's see now if when we add the dependencies that we got, if that solves our problem. And it does. Okay, nice. Sweet, 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 sweet. All right, so this was actually helpful, even though I was a little bit slow on the uptick at the very beginning there. And Mark, thanks for that. I don't know if you're still there. I didn't have the comments open, but appreciate you catching that for me. So to use AntiSamy, to use the latest version of AntiSamy, you can grab that jar from Maven, but that's not enough. If you want to use it, though, in your Cold Fusion apps, to put together everything that you need to use it, the way to do it would be to download the project from GitHub. Then you can run Maven package, which will create this jar, and then you can run Maven dependency copy dependencies, which will generate the dependencies in a directory that you can then load into your app. So we got that. We got the 1.5.9 working in Lucy. You know what? I could spin this over to Cold Fusion, but the one last thing that I wanted to explore, and I did not look into this at all, but I wanted to look at the possibility of using Maven to build a fat jar. So I had seen that there was this post, but I've never done anything with this. Okay, is there a way to force Maven 2009 to include all? This was asked 10 years ago. Oh gosh, old post. I might need to look into this more. You can do this using, okay. You can do this using the Maven assembly plugin with the jar with dependencies descriptor. All right, so doing it this way would probably be, hacking it a little bit. Okay, so this is a 2. we're in Maven 3, so I'm wondering if they've made this easier with Maven 3. All right, let's just do some Google here. Maven build fat jar, because this would be really helpful. This was 6 years ago. We're not in a Spring Boot app. The Maven Shade plugin. Everyone here talking about Maven Shade. When's this from? 2018. This is now the correct way to do it. This is from still 2014 there. Build a fat jar with Maven. Create a fat jar Maven assembly plugin. When is this? Oh, this is 2019. Maven can build a fat jar from your Java private fat jar. Yeah. Just for reference, a fat jar being a jar that contains all of its dependencies so that we don't need to drop that separate, all those separate dependency files in there. So it's just one thing that we can use in our projects. You must include a fat jar build configuration in your POM. This one's saying using the Maven assembly plugin. Configuration, make assembly, okay. And then, oh, interesting, okay. All right, we will try that. I just want to see if there's anything else. So once again, all right, so it seems like it might be the Maven assembly plugin or the Maven shade plugin seem like they're probably the way to go. Just, okay, Maven 3.1.1, create the Java project, update the POM, properties, snapshot, dependencies, add the jar file. All right. One jar is the Google code repository. So wait. Update POM to use the one jar. Oh, interesting. So this is a whole different approach. The one jar Maven plugin. I wonder if that would work. All right, so that's another approach. I suppose I should just try one of these and see what comes out the other side. Let's just check it in Google with DuckDuckGo. All right. And just check one thing here. Okay. I'm going to try it with the assembly plugin first. Oh, 3 common methods for, oh, an Uber jar. This is probably something worth reading. When is this from? 2015. Jar with dependencies. You can use the newly created jar using classifier tag. If you want to do an executive jar, you need the main class to this should be 239. These are still a little old. I'm just going to try dropping this in and see what happens. What's the worst? It doesn't work. It'll be like any of my experiences in Maven. So we need to hop back to the command line, jump over to, okay, we are in, yeah, hop back, we got our palm there. In the palm, oop. Doesn't let me navigate that. Licenses, dependencies, lots of dependencies, plugins. All right, let's just drop that plugin in there. Why not? See what happens. Maven clean, and then Maven package. And let's see if adding that plugin just breaks everything, or if we end up with a fat jar. All right, something happened. So I'm gonna hop over to Finder and just take a look here. Our target does not look. All right, let's read the docs here. Let's see what we're supposed to be looking for. All right, you can use the jar with dependencies descriptor. Here's the relevant chunk. All right. Java docs sources. Yeah, I don't think that change worked. All right, so the goal. These are all old. Let's go back to that post from. Was it post from 2019? That was probably my best bet. Is it this guy's? Yeah. All right. So other Maven plugins, plugin assembler 3.1.1. We'll drop. I'm gonna drop this in the Palm file. Get rid of what I put there before. Put in this one. I'll read it slightly more. Maven clean. Okay. Maven clean package. Maybe I should have run Maven clean package before. That may have done it. All right. Let's see what we ended up with here. I feel like I'm supposed to see my project name jar with dependencies jar, and I am not seeing that in my target directory. All right, let's just look at this one more time. It's a snippet with the Maven. Did I put it? The configuration XML element inside the Maven assembly plugin contains the descriptor ref, which tells Maven which type of assembly this configuration build. Jar with dependencies, tell Maven a jar without dependencies, which is another term for a fat jar. So that's right up here. The executions XML element tells Maven which Maven build phase and goal this Maven plugin should be executed during. Make assembly phase package. Should always be executed during the package phase. Maven command to make the Maven build the fat jar, Maven clean package. When you execute Maven package, it should be doing it. Huh. Interesting. I'm going to try this one more time and then I think I will. Let's just check if assembly is here first of all. No, it's not. Okay. So I got something on my keyboard. Get that off. All right, plugin. So the last plugin I put in here will be that assembly plugin. Make sure that's the only one of it. All right, so if that, I feel like that should work. But that doesn't mean that it will. Oh, nice. Executions, line 243. Something breaking is line 243. Huh. Executions, execution. What was that error? Some problems were encountered while processing the POM's malformed POM. Unrecognized tag, executions. Interesting. Plugin, plugin, plugin ends. Right. Single execution, executions. I mean, that's very. Let's just try. I'm going to try copying and pasting this in again. From plugin to plugin. All right, AntiSamy, paste it in. Make sure that's saved. And we will run it again in a second. All right, Maven clean package. Huh. Maybe that's plugin, plugin. Oh, that's because I put it in the reporting section. That would be why, not the build section. All right. There we go. All right. I'm not sure if it's actually using that plugin now to generate the fat jar. So Maven assembly plugin. Okay, target. Okay. We might. I would be so happy here. I think we got our fat jar. All right. I'm gonna grab this and bring it over to the Lucy app. Lib. I'm gonna delete what's in there. Drop this in. I'll show you this in code. All right. So this is what got built. This file here, the AntiSamy 1.5.9 jar with dependencies. Um, its size is 4.6 megabytes, not small, but it's a single jar. So let's just make sure that this is a new app. It's just loading that one AntiSamy jar, and we'll hop back to index, and let's see if this ends up running here. Here we go. And it does. Woohoo! So we used Maven and that assembly plugin to build a fat jar that we can just drop that into our lib directory and use it in our Cold Fusion projects. And that's working with Lucy. The last thing that I'll do is I'll try copying this stuff over. So this is the index to the Adobe Cold Fusion project. We'll update the index. I don't think I have to do anything in the app. That's fine. And I'll move that. I'll hop over to Finder and I'll move that jar in there. Adobe Server, lib, get rid of the other jar, drop that one in. And let's hop over. This is Adobe. Didn't copy over the config file. I'll do that now. That was in Lucy, AntiSamy.xml. If you're not familiar with AntiSamy, these XML files have all of the rules for what tags and such are allowed. And that worked. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to call this a success and wrap it up. But just to summarize there, we used Maven to build the AntiSamy jar. Then we used Maven's, what was it? I'm not going to be able to find it. If I go up here, I will. We used another Maven tag to build the dependencies. So if you don't want to build a fat jar, that uses Maven to assemble all the dependencies that are necessary to use AntiSamy or any other jar. And then finally, we modified the AntiSamy POM file with an assembly plugin. And what that did was generate a fat jar so that had all the dependencies in it, and we were able to drop that into our lib directory and use it with both Adobe Cold Fusion and Lucy CFML. So that gives us the latest version of AntiSamy. So it was a success. Thanks for tagging along, and I'm pretty happy with that end result. Have a good night.